Oh my goodness gracious, the shoulder. We are that far along, folks. Right here I've got a model of the shoulder that I'm going to slow down and bring into full view for you. Might remind you of your own shoulder. I know that many people are nursing various injuries of various degrees, shoulder injuries. It's a very complex joint. It is the most mobile joint in the body. Factoid for you. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. All right? Smoke it. Inhale. It is capable of many different ranges of motion. We've got flexion. Okay? We've got extension. We've got abduction. We're bringing the arm away from the midline. We've got adduction. We're bringing the arm towards the midline. We've got internal rotation, scarecrow. We've got external rotation, field goal. Come on. We've got circumduction, which is a combination of all those exercises. It's very, very important to maintain mobility and stability in the shoulder joint. Okay, there are four. That's three. Count them, four muscles that are dynamic stabilizers in the shoulder joint. They are referred to as the rotator cuff. The rotator cuff. Or don't say rotor cuff. Pisses me off. You sound stupid. You don't know any better, but don't say rotor cuff. All right? These muscles attach from primarily the scapula. The scapula is this triangular shaped bone, your shoulder blade, your wing. All right? In the back of your wing, now this is your back, so you're facing me, and I'm pointing out your shoulder structures. The scapula, all right? Inside this little hollow here lies a muscle called the supraspinatus, and it literally orients this way and attaches itself right on the top of the ball, okay? We've got a ball in the socket in the shoulder just like we do in the hip. So we've got the supraspinatus up here, number one muscle, rotator cuff muscle, to be torn, the supraspinatus. The next muscle is called the infraspinatus, and it attaches to this hollow on the back, and of course, where is it going to attach? One attachment is here, okay? The other attachment is going to be on the shoulder. This might as well be the attachment site of the infraspinatus, all right? And then we've got a muscle that attaches from the downward aspect, the inferior aspect of this shoulder blade, and it comes out like this. And this is called the teres minor. All right. Lastly, turn the shoulder around, and this is the part of the shoulder that actually comes together with your ribs, forming what's called the scapulothoracic joint, all right, which isn't a true joint, but is a gliding joint. It's gliding on top of muscle. In any event, there's a muscle in this hollow. It's called the subscapularis. Very, very clinically relevant in conditions such as rotator cuff tears, as well as frozen shoulder. Very clinically relevant in frozen shoulder. So we've gone through a lot. We've got the range of motion down. Okay, we've got many ranges of motion, owed mostly to the orientation of the structure of this joint complex, making up its function, which is we've got a very shallow, very shallow socket that the ball rests in, so it has a lot of free range of motion. Talked about the scapula. We didn't talk about the humerus, which isn't funny. We should have gone over it already. Get it? Humerus. The humerus here. This is the shaft of the humerus. This is the ball going into the socket on the scapula. There's a process that comes across the scapula here. It's called the scapular spine. It's very thick. It's a muscular attachment. Okay? It terminates in something called the acromion. The acromion, the spine takes a bend and comes over the top, and the acromion is going to join up with a bone called the stinking clavicle. All right, so this is your shoulder bone, a lot of people call it, or your collarbone. That's the clavicle. Clavicle, humerus, head of the humerus, scapula, spine of the scapula, acromion. Again, these soft tissue structures being simulated by these brown, tan type of things. They are analogous to ligaments, tendons, muscles. A very important tendon, all right, that you see in this groove right up the front, this is your bicep tendon. I don't know that you knew that your bicep tendon actually, or if you really want to sound dumb, you say bicep, bicep, with a PT. The bicep tendon, it comes in this groove, and it's going to go over the head of the humerus, and it's going to attach on the top of, again, our shoulder blade again. It's going to attach over the top, comes down from the below the belly of the bicep muscle, and it comes up and attaches right on top of the shoulder. Clinical pearl is oftentimes you will have older folks who will not have lifted for a long time, and will go to perform some physical task that requires them to lift a heavy item, and this tendon will pop directly off of the top of the shoulder, and then you've got a big Popeye arm down here. Mike Bernard's got one of these things, not to breach patient confidentiality. That rascal will tell you. All right, it's got a little Popeye arm down there. It actually looks pretty nice. You know, nice peak to that bicep. But you don't want to do it that way. Hard work and repetition. So there's the shoulder. It's very important. It's very clinically relevant, and if you keep your flexibility and your strength of those rotator cuff muscles, as well as, we didn't talk about the big muscles that act on the shoulder, which we've got the deltoids, which come out, bring your arm out to the side, right? You know, little pose. So the deltoid is a very big, powerful muscle. There's 3 heads on that muscle that mobilize the shoulder. We've also got up here, we've got the trapezius, which we talked about this morning in IV. The trapezius attaches the head to the thorax and the shoulder girdle. So, very important joints, muscles, and don't say bicep. All right, never say bicep. Don't say bicep.